So we all know that Republicans don't do anything for us. They are not working on serious policy. They're not introducing policy. They're not trying to make our lives better. They're usually going after a talking point or an appearance on Fox News at night. That's kind of their whole job title right now. If you run as a Republican, that's what you got to do. And this was just perfectly summarized by Democratic Representative Joe Neguse, who is a rising star in the Democratic Party. You might have seen him before. He's fantastic. And he was giving a speech on the House floor yesterday, and he kind of just listed some of the policies that Republicans are introducing or have introduced recently. And it's just so absurd. It's hilarious. You got to listen to some of these names of the policies that Republicans are putting forward right now to really understand the humor behind it all. So I'm going to show you that clip of Representative Joe Neguse just kind of digging into Republicans for this. And then later we're going to talk about this policy and a little bit more on this topic. But before I show you that clip of Democratic Representative Joe Neguse, make sure to drop a subscription down below. It goes such a long way. And now here is that clip.
I don't think the American people share House Republicans' priorities. And let me explain why. On Monday, the Rules Committee will be meeting to consider a number of bills. The House Republicans put out a notice yesterday what those bills would include. Let me just give you a sampling, Mr. Speaker. The Refrigerator Freedom Act, the Hands Off Our Home Appliances Act, the Clothes Dryers Reliability Act, and this may be my favorite, the Liberty in Laundry Act. Liberty in Laundry Act. So while I appreciate the gentleman from Wisconsin's very passionate defense of liberty, I'm not so sure the American people had that in mind. I don't think they're thinking of the Liberty in Laundry Act. I think they expect this House Republican majority to actually address the consequential challenges that face our country.
Yeah, everything he just said is real. All of those policies that he just mentioned, Republicans have introduced in recent weeks. The Refrigerator Freedom Act, the Liberty in Laundry Act. Are you kidding me? What are we, 5? Are we on the playground again in middle school? These are real policies. Of course the American people aren't in line with the Republicans on this. They're addressing non-existent issues. There is no problem. There's no infringement on liberty when you go to try to open your refrigerator. I don't remember the last time that Joe Biden was in your laundry room telling you couldn't do a load of laundry, right? These are non-existent issues. These aren't things that people are talking about. These aren't things that are affecting people. We have real issues going on in the United States. Plenty of things that we could address. We could invest more in infrastructure, as Joe Biden has. We could address the gun problem we have in the United States. We could try to further protect women's reproductive rights. We could lower healthcare costs, invest in the environment. All of these are noble issues that need addressing. And Republicans are thinking about the Liberty and Laundry Act. I mean, get serious. Look, this is another difference between the Democrats and Republicans for 2024. It's not just a pro-democracy party versus an anti-democracy party. It's not just people who believe in elections versus people who don't believe in elections. The latter always, of course, being the Republicans. It's also just like a serious versus an unserious election, right? The Democrats are serious. When Joe Biden controlled the House and the Senate, they invested in a variety of things we just talked about, along with other policy. They're doing real things to help people. But when Republicans are in control of power, they're doing stuff like this. They're introducing the Liberty in Laundry Act. So, oh man. Crazy, just crazy that the Republicans are using our taxpayer dollars to do stuff like this. The Liberty and Laundry Act. I keep saying it because it's hard to fathom that this is a real thing that elected members of our government are actually trying to pursue. And as we just talked about in a video the other day, this Congress, led by Republicans in the House of Representatives, has been the least productive since the Great Depression. The least productive since the Great Depression. Now we know why, because Republicans are introducing policies like the Refrigerator Freedom Act, like unserious stuff. Like we have Joe Biden saying, hey, our veterans could use some more funding, or the VA could use some fixing. Let's do that. And the Republicans are like, well, hold on now. Hold on here. What, Joe, are you trying to interfere with my refrigerator? Are you trying to go after my laundry? God, oh man, so hard to govern when you have like MAGA lunatics like pulling stunts like this. And you know what? I want to add on to the list of absurd policy that Republicans are pushing recently. I want to put my hat in the ring. You remember the press conference that Mike Johnson and Donald Trump had yesterday at Mar-a-Lago? We talked about it on this channel a little bit, but Mike Johnson flew all the way down to Mar-a-Lago to, number one, kiss Donald Trump's ring. That's what the Republican Party does. It's like a prerequisite to be a member of Congress, aside from that. But also to introduce a quote-unquote election security bill. Because apparently Mike Johnson and Donald Trump are concerned about non-American citizens voting in American elections. Now, this is not a thing. This does not happen. This is incredibly rare. There have only been like a handful of examples since the early 2000s of this actually being a thing. But this is what Mike Johnson went down there to do, to introduce an election security bill to make non-citizens voting in federal elections illegal, which is already illegal. It doesn't happen, and it's already forbidden by the U.S. Constitution. This is what Mike Johnson took time out of his day to do. Again, not being in the House trying to get stuff done, but going down to Donald Trump, telling him how great he is, and trying to introduce a policy that is obviously not going to pass. It's not a thing. And just wastes our time. And I do think it's ironic that Mike Johnson and Donald Trump are the ones talking about election security when they are literally the guys who tried to overturn the election in 2020. Donald Trump tried to illegally hold on to power. Mike Johnson was helping him do it even before he was Speaker of the House. And they want to tell us about election security. They want to make an issue out of nothing when they are quite literally the issue surrounding elections. Make it make sense, folks. Make it make sense. So if you're ever curious about what Republican politicians are doing with your taxpayer dollars, you're wondering, what are they up to these days? This is it right here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The Refrigerator Freedom Act. If it wasn't so absurd, it would be really funny. But it's real. It feels like a Veep episode. It feels like we're in a comedy show, but we're not. This is actually elected members of our government. So anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up this video for now. Just had to bring this to your attention, and I love how Representative Joe Neguse just called them out on the House floor, laying it all out there for everybody to see. So great clip. And that's going to wrap it up. So make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already. Drop a like on the video. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Share this video with anybody you think needs to see it. And of course, I appreciate you so much. Hope you have a great day. And thank you for all of your support.